Yo, let's go. It's time to chop it up with Chop, baby. Shout out to Rick Star on the track. I see you, young Prince. Let's go.
Chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up. Chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop it up. Real issues, real problem, real shit that we dealing with. Fuck your whole life up dealing with a city bitch like me, like that's the shit that we dealing with. Get up on the oil and we get into the thick of it. Niggas be tripping when their names ain't mentioned. The product ain't moving, so the niggas start glitching. Friends on the foes in a goddamn minute. Snakes start rattling. See you hear the hissing. These niggas say tellin', but these niggas ain't kissing. Point a head out and they ass get missing. When you see the real chief, better get into submission. Ain't shit made up and a nigga ain't blemished. Chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up. Chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop, chop it up with chop it up.
Chop it up with chop. Chop it up with chop it up. Chop it up with chop. Chop it up with chop it up. Chop it up with chop. Chop it up. Chop it up with chop. Chop it up with chop. Chop it up with chop.
Yep. Yo, what it is. Hey, it feels good to be back live. I got my people with me tonight in the house. Some good people. We're gonna have a deep conversation tonight. Yo. Hey, so we're gonna jump into this conversation, but before we do, man, David, it's good to have you, man.
Appreciate you.
It's good to have you.
Glad to be here.
Okay. Turn them up, Shard. Turn them up.
Yo.
I can hear you. You good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We're gonna let some more people come in too while we waiting to get into this conversation. And if you see the live right now, like, love it, share it. Getting ready for I don't think it's difficult, but I think it's a well needed conversation. I think it's topics that we need to touch on and try to get some clarity from it. We got some people on the side tonight. The bat here, he don't want to come out the cage. He said he doing his own thing. He in his cave, He's not upside down though, so you never know. He might grab a mic. We got Nix. Nix, how you doing, baby girl? She back.
I'm good. I'm back. I've been MIA for a while. With the military getting my back.
That's what's up. Everything been straight with you?
Yeah, I can't
Okay.
complain. Definitely, I can't complain.
Okay,
I'm here.
I'm gonna say hi to Mika too. I know she don't be liking to talk, but Mika, what's up? How you doing? You ain't on the plane?
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, it's good to have you. Before we get into it, do you got anything that you got going on?
Right now, I'm just traveling with my daughter. She doing cheering competitions, traveling. She got Tennessee coming up with Florida Triple Threat. Shout out to Florida Triple Threat. Last week they came in second place. They call it a trophy with leather jackets and rings to
Okay.
go to Tennessee. So they fully sponsored to go to Tennessee. But I've been following her. We're gonna do like a life and a little journey of her after her little her couple of months in May.
Okay. That's what's up, man. I seen a little bit that you posted, man. That's what's up. Speaking of parenting, man, that's one of the key components to it, man. Pushing your kids to the next level.
Topic, baby.
Yeah.
Topic.
Yeah, definitely.
Kids is important. Sometimes I take a break from my own personal life and I push them.
Yeah.
And that's important to me. And it should be important to a lot of other people, but we're going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, we definitely going to get into it. Just a little bit with me. Anybody who know me, y'all know how much I love to drink. I'm back on the fast. I ain't drinking right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the gym every day. I'm eating clean. I got a lot of just healthy things that I got going on right now. Shout out to Mike Larry. Y'all know Larry Washington, man. What's up, Wash? I'm on the drops, the slim drops.
Yeah.
I'm on that as well. A bunch of vitamins and different things like that, and it's actually helpful, man.
I could see you when you walked in. You was nice and slow.
Hey, it's a little bit. I got a ways to go though.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got a ways to go. I'm trying to get right for my birthday next month.
Everything take time.
Yeah. So the conversation tonight, man, it is we're and I touched on this conversation last year, probably in one of my earlier shows about some of the aspects of co-parenting. Um, this conversation is I titled it "Raising Kids in Different Households." How do we manage that as parents? And I know everybody, they always say, "Oh, you can't tell me what to do if you don't have kids." I think that is not a good statement because you don't have to have children to know how to take care of children, to know how to raise children, to know how to provide for children. So, we're taking all statements. You're a parent, you could be a godparent, you could be one of those overbearing aunties. You could be one of those uncles. I got one of my coach brothers that's like that. I don't. Mark called me this morning. Hey, you got the boys? I'm finna come get them. I want to take them to a basketball game. It's a part of it.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say that. It do take a village and input. You can get input from them same people as parents because I'm sure nobody's perfect in a relationship, and my mom always say, ain't no handbook to raising kids.
No.
So you can get perspective from people that's been there before you, and people that sit on the sideline can give you some helpful tips on how to raise, how to add little features to your child growing up, to help you raise them and be part of that village.
Okay.
So
I definitely agree with you.
I think even if you don't have a parent, outside looking in can kind of got to give a little bit of push to the parents and kind of show them how some things could be navigated. Because sometimes as a parent, you see a way, but then people without kids can see another way, and they can offer you something that you haven't saw.
Yeah.
You too busy. Some parents be trying to push their kids in the avenue that they went in, but sometimes kids that's not them.
Right.
And some people without kids sometimes can give you a different perspective on that.
Because they can see it, and before my godmother, before she had her own children, I was just her godson. She had me and my older god sister, and when I say she raised us like she had, my godmother didn't play. She would come to my mom's house. We had to read at least 5 pages out of a book for her a night. That's just how she was. She didn't even have kids at that time, but that was her mentality. Also, another point I wanted to point out, I was listening to Ricky Smiley's show the other morning, and a mother wrote in and she said that she needed advice on what to do with her son because she felt like he was going to be a threat to society.
I think I heard that. But I didn't listen to the whole the whole interview on the show, but I did hear that question.
Right.
I did hear that question.
And if you have a mother that's calling and saying that about her own child, it's some seriousness there. Nix, do you have any parents? Come on in here, girl. Come on in here.
I wasn't raised by my parents.
Uh-huh.
And my parents are no longer here. And I completely agree with what y'all saying because I've been in foster care. So just that alone, being in the right household could make a big difference because I've been in good and I've been in bad.
Right.
So, just they taking that as a kid, there's people out there that, love you, care for you, and it makes an impact on kids.
Yeah.
So I don't have any kids, but I've played stepmama a lot. I've raised my cousins. I help my friends out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'll go get Sheikah's son and we'll go to the pool and I'll get my god kids and I'll hang out with them. So
not a question.
Yeah.
Being in a foster home, I know you wasn't raised. You say you wasn't raised with your parents, right?
No, for the most part, my grandma raised me, and me being in and out of foster care was being in my grandmother's care.
So my question is, the love from your grandmother, did it feel the same as being in the foster home?
Yeah, in a sense, I'll say my grandmother wasn't the best parent. We were kind of just like there. So I would equip her to be in a foster care.
Did they handle you the same as your grandma? Did they be very attentive to your needs like your grandma would, and trying to make you do right about certain things, or did foster care just kind of let you just do whatever it is that you wanted to do?
I'll say this: I've been in a good foster place, and I've been in a bad foster place. The only good thing I'll say with the experiences, I wasn't alone. I was actually with my cousin, so I had somebody.
Yeah.
But I'll say my grandmother would fall in the middle of the good and the bad. She'll fall in the middle.
And I think I heard you talk about that before, like the relationship with your grandma. She was just there to facilitate, to get, you know.
I can't even say facilitate. She was
just
kind of
there.
just there. It was really no structure. Nobody was checking homework.
Yeah.
Nobody was telling me to brush my teeth or baby. You know what I'm saying? It was really no structure.
And
but
and
I wasn't being abused, and I had a roof over my head, but it really wasn't no parenting or like checking homework. Nobody was coming to school to check to see what I was doing, things like that. But
So did that make it difficult in school to kind of like cooperate with maybe
definitely. I wasn't a bad kid, but at the same time, I wouldn't do my homework. I want to go outside and play like any other kid. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think it was any discipline? Because that's one of the topics.
No, there was. I'll say there wasn't any discipline.
Little or none.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one of the things I want to tap into. Discipline. You know, and we could talk about it from multiple angles. So we could talk about it from just uh, uh, you and your ex significant other. You guys have a child together. Mm-hmm. You stay in one household, and she stays in another household. And when you discipline, does the discipline stop when your child leaves and goes to the other parent's house?
It doesn't supposed to,
okay.
Right? But in the perfect world, we would all say, yeah, we supposed to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. But realistically, we were raised differently. So you not being with that other parent,
yeah,
that other parent have things in place that they want to do, accomplish. They might want to go out, hang out. You know, the sacrifices you make, you can't expect the other parent to make those same sacrifices. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a child together, but at the same token, that child has to take needs and wants from that parent, then they have to come and take needs and wants from you. What they see, it's going to reflect who they is from that household. Yeah. What they see is going to reflect from the parent in your household as well. Okay. In the middle, you can try and ask that parent, hey, certain things that I'm doing here at the house, you know, is going to be a strong point for me and you to be on the same page because it could lead them in another direction. Yeah. But again, it's up to the other parent to follow, and it's up to ultimately the child when they get of age to realize what was the right path. And I know they're kids, and it's kind of going to be difficult for them to realize what's right and what's wrong. But the consistency within the parent, right, it'll kind of guide them.
Yeah, and it has to be consistency between both parents. Before I get into like what I want to say about that, I'm gonna let everybody else kind of tap into it. The We're talking about, if you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about raising children in different homes. The overtitle co-parenting. And right now we're on the standpoint of disciplining the kids in two separate households. I'll start with you, Jay, if you don't mind, and then next you can follow right behind her. Like, what do you feel like discipline looks like for a child in two different households?
So I grew up with my dad, and obviously my mother was in a different household. I do think that it really boils down to communication, which I think we can say for a lot of topics is communication. But I also think that within communication, it should be up to the parents to be mature enough to understand, listen, whether you and I have grown into two different people or not, at one point we made the decision to lay down together. Mm-hmm. So we need to be adult enough in order to take care of the child. to
Right.
communicate and make sure that it becomes the parents disciplining the child versus the child playing both sides of the fence with the parent.
Oh, because that's what happened.
Because that causes the child to learn how to manipulate easily.
Yeah.
So now they're putting the parents against each other,
Yeah.
and the child becomes a pawn.
Yeah.
That's bad enough. Kids are already manipulative.
Right. Right.
When they want something, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna use it. They're gonna play. They're gonna play on that parent that they know that is gonna do. Timo, he said this should have had me at it. Being, I'm a father of 11. I can definitely give great advice.
Dang.
Yeah. Hey. Ooh, 11.
More
Man,
power to you.
You gotta start roster, but you can you
More
can chime
power
in.
to you, baby.
What's up, Will? Get over there, man. No, you could definitely chime in. Hey, whenever we revisit or another conversation, bro, I'll be glad to have you, man. But you can still tap in tonight on this conversation. So right now, you're just getting in. We talking about co-parenting, raising children in two different households. That's what we talking about. And so, Janessa, you just brought up a lot of great, yeah, a lot of great comments because they will play on your intelligence, and they know what dad is more so gonna let them get away with, and then they know what mom is more so gonna let them get away with. And so that's where they take their questions. If it's something that's pertaining to a public outing or event, okay, my son, no, I'm down for that. If his mom, with some junk, he wants something out of the mall, like he want to just get this or that, he's gonna go to his mom because he know I'm just not gonna, whatever he gets from me, he has to earn. So it's a different, and they'll play on you in that way. What's your input, Nick?
So for me, growing up in the islands, back in the 1900s, like people call it, my discipline was in school. That's where I got my discipline from the majority of the time. So back then, we was allowed to get beat in school, so I would get beat in school.
Yeah.
It wasn't too much beatings going on at home because ain't nobody much care. As far as that aspect when it comes to me on my situation. But just me being an adult and dating men who have kids, at the end of the day, I feel like as adults, we need to always think about what's best for our kids. I don't have kids, but it always tends to be the home that they're not at Monday through Friday. That parent is considered a fun parent. Mm-hmm. The weekend parent where they get to eat McDonald's all weekend.
Yep, all night.
You don't have to tell them they need to do their homework. There's no bedtime because, tomorrow's Saturday. They don't got school the next day. So I feel like the hardest part comes down to the parents who have them the Monday through Friday, who have them majority of the time. They tend to end up being the need parent while the fun parent is the weekend parent.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the weekend parent.
I see that in that struggle when it comes to y'all who have y'all kids.
The crazy part, most of the time, the weekend parent be the father.
And that's a that's a sad indictment.
I wanted to say that because
that's a sad indictment, though.
I've dated two guys and they're the full-time parent. So I haven't really seen. I've never been in an experience where I'm dating, the fun parent. Yeah, it's always the let me check your book bag. Did you do your homework? Okay, turn that off. You got to read this. Right. So they deal with.
Yeah. So it's been the men who've been the disciplinary most of the time.
I won't say disciplinary.
Oh.
I'm not gonna say disciplinary.
So there's been no more lenient?
The moms are end up being the fun parent because they see them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I see the other side to it.
Yeah.
You know how they always like, I'm a single parent. Mom always say that.
Oh, yeah.
I dated dads, more than one dad they're the single parent. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Definitely. So, definitely.
I completely understand.
And you the thing is too, like, and like when you was like most of the time as a dad, that's the weekend dad. Yeah. That part, I feel like the courts they step into everything else. They step into all your other business, but they don't step into the business that is right. And if in any case, unless for whatever reason a father or the mother is unfit, both parents should have equal care of that child because you need both parents. It's hard to implement anything on a weekend.
On just the weekend, yeah.
It's
yeah.
it's difficult to implement anything on just the weekend.
I want to chime in on that. So you say, the courts when it comes to men. I feel like it's the men when it comes to courts. Men tend to not want to go to court or, you know, do the route women would do. I feel like men need to step up more. If you feel like that's the case, that the mom is unfit. Now, I haven't dated anybody who have an unfit parent. You know, their co-parent is unfit. I just feel like, like she said, it boils down to communication.
It's changing a lot, though.
Yeah.
It's changing a lot. I would say that it is changing a lot because I could say I see a lot more dads involved in their kids' lives. Maybe because I'm that parent, but I see that in a lot of men now. Versus from what I saw before, my daddy didn't care. They still don't care.
Yeah.
You know, other parents of my daddy's era, they care either. Like they'll have a child like right down the street, and they won't never see their child.
Yeah, they'll have a family. Two houses down.
And I think Facebook now, you know, what I try to do on Father's Day, I try to make it like a thread for everybody to post them and their kids.
Yeah.
And I see a lot. I think I got like 200 or 300 comments at one point.
I think those
we're doing that. So I literally could see more fathers coming to the forefront trying to do the best that they can with their kids. And back then it was mothers being like mother's baby, daddy, maybe type thing back then. Now it's looking a little bit more even where the fathers are taking more of a initiative to be more of a stronger parent and trying to, you know, put their foot down. Yeah, there is some mothers giving pushback and going through a whole lot more to try to fight, but I think the playing field is kind of like coming from up under than that.
It's definitely better. The ratio and the statistics and the percentage of good fathers are very high right now. I believe that era that we went through, most of us here were born in the 80s. And that era that we went through, that was a big epidemic era. You know, the 70s and the 80s, you had a epidemic. You had crack, you had heroin, you had Vietnam, but that's why Janorino was necessary because these dudes were literally disappearing and not taking up, you know, their responsibility. Yeah. So it was like necessary. But now the 90s and the 80s babies and the 2000s, we are proud to be fathers, and you know we're trying to wear it, you know, proudly. But when it comes down to discipline, I believe that discipline has to be one. It has to be on one card. It doesn't. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna let you deal with that." Or it, you know, it's times, and you know, me just being honest, it's times where my son could probably not even be with me, and I will get a call from, you know, his mother or you know, maybe his grandparent, and say, "Oh, Noah did this or he did that. You need to take care of him." So you want me to wait until he comes back to my house and then lay the smackdown on him days after? When it's not, it's, you know, it's not fresh on my mind. Yeah. He didn't. Now, of course, I'm going to be upset if he's doing something that's out of order and out of line. Now, but you as a parent, you as a grandparent, why can't you rectify the situation and let him know? Because what that does, it turns the parent, that specific parent, into the bad parent. Yeah. That disciplinary parent.
Oh, we want to go to daddy house because daddy too strict.
Exactly. So then you build that barrier, you create that in their mind.
Creating a different image, acting like you always the bad person.
Exactly.
Every time I go through something or something happens, mom calling you.
And so, and when you have that shared parenting type of relationship with the other parent, you have to, I'm sorry, but I don't care if y'all got to sit down and have a cup of tea or something. You have to be able to have a conversation. And granted, I'm not judging. We listen, we don't judge, right? I can't even have the conversation. It's hard when you have parents need to get out of their feelings.
Yeah.
Parents need to get out of their feelings. It's not about me at the end of the day. When it comes to our children, my objective in having children is for my children to be better than me.
Yeah.
So the only way I can make them better than me is to give them. Nick, you said something earlier.
In that space, though, better than you in that space when it comes to discipline, doing the right thing,
In everything,
being on top of your foot. Yeah.
For me, it's everything. My pastor, and I'll say this real quick, and we can go into the next one. His dad was a pastor, and his dad would come to our church and preach all the time. And the people in the church were like, "Hey, man, your son is he's preaching better than you. He's doing better than you, and stuff like that." And his dad looked at them and said, "Yeah, that's because he's standing on my shoulders." And that's what it's supposed to be for our kids. Like, our kids are supposed to be better than us. I'm not raising nobody so you can be under me. If I have a business, you need to take that business public. If whatever I started, whatever I got going on, you need to take it to the next level. Your mindset should be, you need to be greater, right, and better. And so, like, in that instance, we gotta have that challenge with the other parent. So it's a lot of people that's not challenging them when it comes down to discipline. Because if I discipline my son here and then he's able to go back to mom's and the discipline is not happening, where do you think his balance is?
Oh, it's going. Listen, even if you and her on the same page on certain things, again, she was raised different, you was raised different.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all going. That child is going to find out eventually what I want to do in life. If it's not a part of what mommy had going on, if it's not a part of what daddy had going on, I gotta figure out what it is that I want to do. Now, do I want to be greater than my daddy? Yes, I want to be greater than my daddy, but I'm not gonna be a preacher.
You're right. Yeah.
You can't make them because at the end of the day, mama probably ain't even in the preacher field. You probably is, but at the same time, the mama probably ain't doing that.
True.
But the DNA ain't gonna lie, cause you might be a preacher, be pushing them hard as hell, but the DNA still. I don't want to do nothing. And I don't want to work.
And then
you gonna do make them.
You don't have to push them to be exactly what you are. You're just pushing them for greatness.
For greatness, right.
You're just pushing them for greatness.
The new generation kids is totally different.
My son, for instance.
I blame the parents.
We can, but again, you got two different parents with two different DNAs that you can't force that other side of the parent. It's like having. I'm just use myself in it. I'm a Gemini. I can't give you this side of me and that side of me.
Hello.
You only gonna get one side.
Exactly.
You only gonna get one side, and the side you bring out is the side you gonna get.
Yes.
So just look like a child. Child gonna pick a side eventually, and it's gonna come out in their DNA. Greatness don't come from probably LeBron James' mama. Probably came from the daddy, but we ain't never see the daddy, right?
Right.
The DNA is still there. The mama probably got here.
But guess what? You just said a mouthful. The DNA probably didn't come from his mama. It came from the daddy. But guess what? What that mother did was cultivate that greatness and push that greatness. And
I can't say that because I don't know what she done.
Who raised him though?
I don't know what she done. He probably been around a bunch. I'm gonna say this. My daddy wasn't in my life. My mama was partially there, right? I had a bunch of guys at my workplace. I started my job when I was 20 years old. I had a bunch of guys in my workplace, and I made a documentary about this that I took things from.
Yeah.
Growing up, uncles and all that. I had 9 uncles. They were drug dealers in the 80s. Sold drugs, but I didn't take everything from them. Right. I took the strongness from them. I took how they carried themselves in public. I took how they made people respect them. I took some of that stuff. But when it came to the work field, I took from them how I manage my money, how I take care of my family, how I made sure that financially I look forward to the future.
Yeah.
I took stuff from my mama. My mama made sure when she stepped out, she was clean. She made sure that if she ain't had a job, you would have thought she was a millionaire. That's how she carried herself.
Yeah.
I took all those little pieces that made me who I am today.
So
it ain't necessarily come from my daddy because my daddy ain't in the best position. Mama is, but my mama was getting herself together. She was growing up with me.
Yeah, I mean that happens. That happens. So, you go ahead.
Right now, my mama literally be like, "Yo, if your grandma see you right now, she'll be shocked." But she knew this was coming because most of this stuff come out of me the push out of me come from my grandma.
Yeah.
So
you said two things, and I think that's you had something, but okay. So you said two things. Like, I wasn't raised by my dad, but if you know, God bless that my dad was here, and you saw him, you heard him speak or whatever, you'd be like, man, this nigga act just like his dad.
Yeah.
I act just like my dad, walk like him, talk like him, pause in speech just like him. But my dad did not raise me. My mom did. And my dad would tell me all the time, he would say, son, you a better man than me. But
Right.
he, and not in just in so many different ways, he would say it. He was like, man, your mom did an amazing job with you. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't learn, like, you know what I'm saying, right from my mom. But in the same part, I did get it, DNA, like you said,
right.
and I got a lot of pieces
From
from
other people.
from
Right,
other
right.
people. Now,
Got them little pockets.
but discipline, bro, discipline to me was everything. And when I say that, it's going from parenting, it starts there. It wasn't, and sometimes you can be doing your own kids a disservice if you're not disciplining them correctly,
Of course.
because you're not telling, like Nick said, she was like, nobody was telling her to wash her face, nobody was telling her to clean or to do this or to take up after herself.
Yeah, but you know, but in that sense, also growing up back in our days, you didn't want to go to a school stink. We didn't want to talk about you.
What?
We had pride back then.
Yeah.
Regardless if we had parents or not, we had pride versus, you know, today.
Now imagine if you weren't taught that. I gotta argue with my son every morning. So
But that's what I'm saying. I said back then it was pride. We had rank sessions.
Yeah,
we never want to go to school.
Well, we ranking all the time.
I was just having this conversation yesterday. I said what we had back then as far as pride, kids don't have today.
No.
I said there was girls who would come to school smelling pissy. And it'd be like, oh, you remember Pissy Patricia? Even now. Patricia 40 now.
Yeah.
She got kids and married, but in our mind, that's Pissy Patricia. That never left. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
in your mind.
So back then, even if we didn't have, you know, parents telling us what to do, you didn't want to go to school with a buttery teeth.
Right.
You was gonna get ranked down. You didn't want to go to school stink or pissy. I'm saying that kind of, I'm telling you, that's how I learned
This
to make sure I keep myself up.
and before we, because I want to switch gears a little bit. But before we switch gears, I want to challenge. Wait, you said you had
one more thing.
Go ahead.
Talk about, you know, DNA and all this. What about Michael Jordan's son? Y'all talking about LeBron?
Yeah, sometimes.
That's facts. That's facts, though. Like,
But that's facts.
That's facts.
Huh?
That's big fact. Shit, I would say that.
Listen,
I would say the same thing for Tiger Woods. Like, where's that at?
somebody put up said that Bronny scored his first 3-pointer on February 4th, and Marcus Jordan got arrested with a DUI and possession of coke on February 4th.
Oh, wow.
What is greatness?
Oh shit.
This triggers me, man.
Yeah, it because it's the lack of discipline. I don't care how much money you have or how good you want to be to your kids. If you don't give them discipline, you don't like.
It's big.
And you can look at Savannah. You can look at Savannah and know that Savannah don't play. You can look at her and see it. I paid attention to her podcast a little bit, and I see how she carries herself. She carries herself immaculate. And you know, you could tell how she runs her household.
I don't have any kids, right? But I dated a woman that had a son. I think you've heard me say before. I ain't like that. She used to put him in timeout.
Okay.
But he used to tear shit up. When I say tear shit up, the man will fall out the store. He'll do all type of things. He'll hit her back.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sit there and look like, he wouldn't find it. I'm gonna fuck me shorty up. Right? And she did that. I changed the whole dynamic of that shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But
Shock them.
discipline, certain discipline don't work with kids.
Yeah.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
She'll put him in the corner for 10 minutes. Oh, don't turn around. The moment she let him out, he gonna fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him like, boy, I'm gonna fuck you up, right? But what I'm saying is, I agree exactly what you said. You have to discipline.
Yeah, that father figure play a big role. Like, you're a big man in that circle when you think you're not. Like, even if you don't say anything, you're a big person to that kid.
Yeah.
The mother put him in the corner, put him on timeout, pop him on the butt, pop him on the face, hit him with a stitching cord.
No pocket.
But
Just
what? But boy, listen, you could do whatever you want as a mother. It ain't gonna phase a man or phase a kid like a man would. Even if he ain't said nothing. He could say, "Yo, what you doing?" That's gonna change the whole dynamic of the way a kid look.
Yeah, oh,
Being
it was
being
so
a father.
bad, Chop. My dad was like, "Don't bring the little guy in the house."
No, you got something like that because guess what? From the time they're toddlers, from the time there's parents that sitting there and they see that their kid is doing something that's bad. They see that they're doing something that's rude or is just disrespectful, and they're like, "Oh, that's so funny! You see what he did?
He's
That's
so
so funny."
bad.
And you laughing at it, and you think it's funny. And as he gets older, he's gonna keep doing it because he think it's funny. You, and that's why the lady was calling.
Get worse, yeah.
You cannot take your foot off the gas when it comes, and everything is not to do with spanking. We're not saying, oh, spank, spank, spank. It's just how you govern your child. My son pulled some crap on me one day. I promise God, I'll show you who's in charge. I left my job and went to his school and pulled him out of school. Give me my bike that you rode here. Let me get that, put it in the back of my van. Thank you. And I'll deal with you in a minute. I don't play like that. I don't operate like that because at the end of the day, as a father, you set the precedence for how your kids are supposed to be.
Right. You remember this? You remember when my mom came to the school and fifth grade? We was at what's name?
You and Dre both had episodes out there.
A lot of episodes.
Right.
I wish it would go back to the days when our parents was disciplining, right? I don't know if you remember this shit, y'all. I forgot our teacher name.
Miss Comer? No.
That lady.
Miss Comer.
Right? She called my mom. Girl was acting out. My mom walked in that classroom. And when I tell you, it was no talking. It was just all ass whooping in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know what that did to me? That fixed my life. Nigga, I'm not gonna get embarrassed like this. But
Yeah.
Great. That's right. Yeah, that's what I said.
But I think the courts played a big role in that when they stopped and kids allowed to say, "Well, I'm gonna call the police on their mama," and
my mama loved that.
And they come to jail and put you in jail for child abuse when you just simply just discipline your child.
That'll be that.
They took out.
That's still depending on your household.
Right. That'll be the day. You just gotta get you a good retainer on a lawyer. Cause the day I start whooping ass in my house, listen, I don't, and it's not like that's what you live to do. And I tell my kids, it does. And I used to like, man, my mama gotta be lying. Oh, it hurt me more than it hurt you. But to be honest, even though the physical part hurt me, when I discipline my kids physically, it does hurt me. I don't like to be I don't want to be putting my hands on you every time. Let's sit down, let's watch a movie, let's watch a show. You know what I'm saying? Let's go out here and play a little basketball, go ride the bike. I don't want to have to put my hands on you all the time or have to chastise you all the time when you know it's right. Because you know I'm teaching you and guiding you the right way. But before I let somebody else put their hands on you, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll rather take that little hurt that I gotta take.
Mm-hmm. I think
I have one more thing to add. For the moms who are out there that have their boys and their dad's not in their life, there are other avenues. I've told friends before because they have boys and maybe the dad's no longer there, whatever the case may be. And I'm saying this because I'm pretty sure when it comes down to Savannah, Bron been on the road.
Yeah.
So Ronnie, his coaches play a big part in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his dad been on the road. And I know Savannah ain't out here teaching him how to be a man.
No.
And LeBron out on the road, he have his coaches. I'm pretty sure he been in sports. That's where that discipline coming from. You got to use your resources.
Yeah.
You can't just sit here and blame because at the end of the day, that's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. There's other avenues. So don't make excuses. Use your other avenues. I don't care if it's church. I don't care if it's chess.
Yeah.
There's a coach there. I don't care if ping pong, tennis, IT, whatever it is. There's a man somewhere within that facility that could be a help to whatever issues you have at home when it comes to discipline, structure, teaching them how to be a man. So y'all need to use y'all avenues and stop making excuses.
Coming back off of what she said, she's absolutely correct. Savannah did play a very big part of Bonnie's upbringing and all the other kids as well. But LeBron was there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he wasn't there. I'm just saying
I'm
though.
agreeing with you, but I'm just
Monday
looking at
through Friday,
part
day
that
to
you
day.
didn't know. Like that boy get off the plane off of doing a little run and go straight to his
Straight home. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. He said that. He said that. He
Yeah.
definitely said that.
I commend both of them
Yeah.
as parents.
And then don't downplay it on the mother's point of view, because my grandmother put listen, my grandmother put fear in grown men's heart. My grandmother whooped my uncle when he was 42 years old with a pocketbook scrap. He was 42 years old and still took that ass whooping. So you have women out there that are strong willed, and they can look at you and get you in line. You don't have to be a man to tell a boy you acting like a, you don't have to, because if you see it, you know how a woman, you know how feminine tendencies, or you see what a boy should be doing. And I'm not talking about sexuality or anything like that. I'm talking about a man. A man, you a man, that's what you are. You carry yourself as such. Beyond whatever these little things that they're putting in. And that's a whole nother conversation. Because as far as I'm concerned, these children are children, and they should not be making grown-up decisions. Should not be making, if they not old enough to smoke, they're not old enough to decide what they like. And that's my opinion. Now, the next thing I wanted to get into, and I don't want to go too long. I know that discipline was a long, it's a long, um, it's a long topic. When you are in a relationship, and Nick, you touched on it a little bit. When you are in a relationship and you marry a new partner, or that's your girlfriend, or that's your boyfriend, or now is your husband. How do you allow them to deal with your child? Is it more so they're hands off? You need them to come to you and let you know how you want to deal with it. How do you take that in? Because you have a similar situation,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So, what my perspective is, I kind of let her play the mother role.
Okay.
So, depending on what my child does, I make sure we have that conversation at the end. If I feel like, okay, try a different route.
Yeah.
That what you did. Yeah, you constantly. Because a parent outside can constantly talk to a child, and the child will feel like, I think she's targeting me.
Yeah.
And they'll come to you and say, Daddy, I think that she's targeting me.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, after you finish discipline, I ain't gonna say nothing. But let's talk about it. What made you do X, Y, and Z? Oh, well, she did this, and it was constant. Oh, okay. If she constantly do it, and you constantly see her do it, we need to fix that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go have a talk with my child.
Yeah.
Listen, what we have been seeing, you ain't been doing that right. And I know ultimately how I want my girls to feel about my significant other.
Yeah.
I want them to love her,
Yeah.
like a mother. Would it always would it get to that point where they love them like a mother when they have a mother? Probably not. But what the discipline part of it, knowing that she want the same compatibility as far as raising as I do,
Yeah.
that'll get there because both of y'all on the same page. So she can't run to the wife and say, "Well, such as I had 3 other kids. Oh, such and such hit me, and she because I have a child from her, I'm gonna favor her."
Yeah.
We on the same page. Discipline for all 3 of my daughters the same way.
Yeah.
We ain't changing the discipline because they don't live in the household with us. It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same. So we had that conversation afterwards.
So you got 3 daughters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 3 daughters. My other daughter is 18, 14, and 7. I got big girls.
How do you feel about that? Yeah, I mean, if you were to date a man with a child, or you Nessa, I'm coming to you with this one. How do you feel like? Do you feel like you will want to be hands on in that situation?
Yes, I'm very hands on. And I was raised by a black man who was in the military and whose grandparents raised him, who was also very strict.
Come on.
And I just feel as though across cultures and within a certain age demographic of children, I am not here to be your friend.
Right.
It takes a village to raise a child, and I want to be part of this village. there are going to be rules no matter where you are at. If you are with me, you will abide by these rules.
Yeah.
Should you decide to not do so, I'm gonna take your ass up the same way that I used to get it when I was younger, and we're gonna fix it.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree with that.
And if you don't like that, then it becomes a conversation between you being my partner and myself about what the boundary is going to be.
Yeah.
Because I began to embarrass me in front of my family, and you think I'm going to call you my child.
Yeah.
It might sound cruel.
No, it's
all right.
it's
No, that's how
honest.
it's supposed to be.
It's
That's
honest.
how it's supposed to be. Shoot.
And you should be allowed to have that conversation with both parents. And I know sometimes it's easier, like in our situation it's easier because I can talk to, our youngest son. I can talk to his dad. We can have conversation on our own, even about, Taj. It's nothing outside of that we can do. Some people are not as mature, and you can't do that. But I think it's irresponsible to think that somebody is going to spend all of this time, because you got to understand, step parents, they spend more time with some of the real parents.
Yeah, right.
So you can't think that this person is going to spend all of this time with your child, spend money,
Yeah.
love and care,
yeah.
show up to all kind of school events, do this or that, pick them up, take them this and that,
Have
and
your back, cooking for them kids too.
and when they act out, you can't say nothing to them. No, it doesn't. That is not fair. And then you have to be able to see that and say, okay, if you cool with that, then that's on you. I'm not saying what floats your boat is what floats your boat. But I don't think that's responsible, because that's like a firecracker ready to blow up in your hand. Because that child is only going to expect for you to give. That child is only going to, you're nothing but a tool for them at that point, and you're not giving them the utensils that they really need, and that's with the discipline. I should not have to call my wife and say, hey, da 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 da. No, I should be able to deal with this situation. A lot of times, unless it's something that's big or major, I'll bring it to her attention. Also, like, I get jealous sometimes a little bit, but she has a group chat with our kids. I'm not in the group chat, but yeah, I mean, I see them when I see them. But no, but they have a group. She has a group chat with them.
Oh yeah,
and so they communicate, whether it's cleaning up or whether they sending funny photos or whatever they do in that chat. She communicates with them on that level. That's her way of dealing with them at the same time and collectively. I think that you have to be able to do that. You cannot like just say, "Oh, I'm gonna let your mama deal with you," or "I'm gonna let your daddy deal with you." You will never get any growth in that relationship dealing with.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Flip the script. I know we all kind of have the same idea of how raising is supposed to be. How do you flip it when the other parent gets in the way of that? The other parent that's not in the household with you get in the way of your parenting style that you both have in the household, and y'all both, teaming up as a village, but the other party ain't trying to be a part of the village, and they ain't trying to be on the same page with y'all as a village. That other person trying to be a villain.
Right. And so I guess that's a.
Are we saying between both biological parents? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not on the same page.
They're not on the same page. But you and your significant other in that same household are on the same page. Remember, that child has to remove themselves at some point to go be with the other parent.
Right. And I want to touch. I'm gonna let Jake go first.
How do you navigate that?
And I'm gonna give my input.
Nigga stressed out on that.
I'm gonna give my input.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so you can put the camera in. I see you want to No, I like, I'm speaking from experience. I really like to be in general with conversations, but I've really been in this situation.
Right.
When I was dating a woman that had a child, same fucking
scenario.
The same.
Oh, the same kid?
Yeah. Same kid.
Uh-oh.
Daddy was a fuck nigga. Daddy was a fuck. Straight up. Straight down like 6 o'clock. And me and her were on the same page with disciplining and trying to get
Right.
the child on the right page, but the daddy was just on some green ass nigga. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Right.
Nah, man, you can't
Talk about you.
You ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing for your son. That's number one. That's why I say, it's hard to be a step. I don't like to say that word step. But in that position for that child, right?
Hard.
Um
Did you all ever get on the page y'all was on, in the house and try to alleviate him to make it work?
well no, me and her were on the same page. It was once the child
No
got
gold,
together,
yeah, right.
it was a problem. Like the child would come back a whole different nigga.
Because
I'm telling
I'm
telling you.
Me molding him into being a respectful young man, understand that you talk to this person this way, you talk to this adult this way, you conduct yourself in this manner when you here, and you do this when you're playing.
Right.
So when he came back, he want to fight everybody now. Like, oh damn, what happened to Tiger? Like what just happened? So me taking the initiative, the little talk, like, bro, what's going on? Oh man, this is my son. You right?
You saw where it came from, huh?
Yeah.
But
I knew because he was a fella. He came from prison. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
his mentality was,
It's totally
I'm gonna
different.
teach my son how to be a thug.
yeah.
Damn, you teaching your son how to be identical to what you were.
Yeah.
He going down that path of
God.
penitentiary area.
And it sucks because you have to work even harder. And I kind of talked to Nix and D about it earlier. This situation that I was dealing with. We it's not that we're strict, but my son used to describe it. It's like, oh, your your house is like jail, and his mom's house is like playtime. It's free time, right? So, and I'm like, okay, but Noah, don't you do a lot? We do fun stuff all the time. We go to parties, we go here, we go there, we do all kind of things. He's like, yeah, Dad, but whenever I gotta go in the refrigerator, we gotta ask. Yeah. You don't just open. That's how we were taught. You don't go in the kitchen without washing your hands. In the refrigerator, you don't open the refrigerator without washing your hands. You know what I'm saying? We have those old school rules. Right, those values. You leave out of this house. You need to tell one of us where you're going. And let us know what's what. Exactly. And we should not have to come looking for you. So these are the things, and I'm like, I said, we asked for good grades, and we asked you to keep this house clean. And all the other stuff should be easy because that's just mannerable. But like you said, you have the forces that be that's working against you. And sometimes you don't know why. Parents, please stop. If you have malice against your child's mother or your child's father, put that in your back pocket when it comes to dealing with your child. If your child is not being harmed and being taught like good values, keep those values up. Keep those values up, because even if you can't or you feel like you don't have the know-how, then talk to the other parent. Let them know, hey, I need a little bit more assistance in this area because of this, that, and the third. It's hard to teach someone Spanish after years of just talking English and having no knowledge of Spanish. Yeah. I don't care if they are biracial. If you didn't teach them that as a child, they're not gonna just pick it up overnight. So this is the part that we have to understand. This is the part that we have to understand. When you it's like you're unwinding. So if I teach my son all of this, for instance, we talking about discipline, and I put my son on punishment, and he's on punishment for not doing what he was supposed to be doing in school. It's and I convey that to the other parent. It should not be playtime at your house. It should not be playtime at your house. And you should be able to understand and respect it. That's just like if he's at your house and he hauls off and smacks you in the face or does something very belligerent or out of order, right? And this week he's coming to my house. Do you think it's gonna be cotton candy and Skittles laid out for him?
Right.
And it's shit.
Nope, not at all.
I think I'm gonna be honest with you personally. Being that's a bad life to have. It's not showing all this content section. But
Carry on.
But in the perfect world, I
Yeah.
think that's how
But,
how we would want
the
it.
hardest thing about the parenting when the child is not yours is being the stepmother or father.
Yeah,
I think that's really, really difficult, especially if the other parent is not on board.
yeah, that's a difficult thing.
But even if you try, because this is the thing, sometimes people would say, well, you know what? If I can't deal with your child, I'm not gonna deal with you.
But that's me.
And you know, I don't think that's
Dang.
I don't
That's me. If I don't like kids,
Dry.
listen, right. And that's what it comes down to. People say,
I'm gonna say that because I've dated people who have kids, and I've also told them like, if your kid don't like me, then we can't be together. It's not a. It's not a.
what about if you don't like the kid?
The same thing. Yeah,
But you-
what if the person
I'm
is
just
amazing?
saying, it's not gonna work if your child don't like you.
but you got to understand the psyche when it comes down to that, because
Kids don't like you.
yeah, exactly, especially
That's why I say, what
especially
if the person is amazing?
especially if they have their other parent in their life, because it feels like you're trying to take their mom's place or you're trying to take their dad's place.
Yeah.
That's how they.
It depends on your approach.
And
It depends on your approach.
and then
Yeah,
it,
I don't like how you said you come in and this. I'm not putting my hands on nobody's child.
I mean, but I had this scenario, and honestly,
No, but I'm just saying if I'm
the child's feelings are more involved than anything. So, in both scenarios, I'm not gonna say they didn't like him, but it wasn't the best scenario. They had to grow to love the person that I was with.
yeah, and
That's the truth. Like,
and that's in
it's not my
training.
mom. I was alone for like 2 years, so they were used to me being alone.
9 times out of 10, if you don't have kids and you're dating somebody that have kids, before you're alone with this child, you already see the behavior. So you knew he was bad before you ever had a one-on-one with him.
It was really wild.
So that's what I'm saying. So for me, it's like,
You
well,
can.
you know, the first time you meet the kid, okay,
Yeah.
you see how they are. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm taking them to church. I'm not doing that if I see these are bad kids.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
Just stay away from it.
I mean,
People put a blind eye to things. I can't love you so much that I'm just gonna look past what's going on.
I think if I'm conveying that to the mother and she's not doing anything about it, then that'll push me to be like, yo, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's difficult when you could have the person of your dreams and that person is who you really care about and love, but your child is not seeing them in that way. You can't. This is my thing. And so many parents do this, and it's not fair to the parent, because at the end of the day, you are a person too. You have needs too. You have wants too. You have desires too. You have dreams too. So when you have a child, most people say, oh, when I had my children, I put my life on the back burner. That's rule number one. And no, your life is still your life. Your life is still your life, and you need to be living it. Now it just coincides with another person's life that you are responsible for. So
You just gotta manage.
You just gotta show them how to live it.
You have to manage it, right?
Yeah, you gotta show them how to live it.
Even for me, if I date somebody and their parents don't like me, I'm not staying. I'm sorry, it's not even just a kid. If your parents don't like me, I'm gone.
He's so shit. Listen,
that's
hard for people though.
Their blood, you have to put their family, their children, their mom,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. You think I'm gonna be coming to the Thanksgiving and I see
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
already calling me out my name or treating me? I'm not coming back. This gonna be my last event.
now, see, now that's now.
That's different though.
Yeah,
That's definitely.
So if the mom's calling you out your name, then that's a sheer sign of disrespect.
And yeah,
I'll tell you to walk away from that.
because that's an adult and you're an adult, so it's different when it's in dealing with.
I'm hitting it off
Just
rip.
like you,
I'm
if
out.
they don't like you, I wouldn't tell you. Because my mom don't like nobody. I'm gonna be honest with you. We can be dating and I can love you to death. My mom gonna be like, yeah, she gonna find something wrong.
her feet turn different ways.
Yeah, I don't like the way she just breathes. But just moms and sons are just like that. You gotta understand that's just like that. But you're not dating my mom.
I'm just saying, I understand that, but your mom plays a big role in your life, and I'm never gonna be that wedge between anybody and their parents and anybody and their kids. I'm sorry.
But check this out. My mama don't know what we be doing when that door closed.
Well, she know.
I don't give a damn.
She know you nasty.
But she know I'm nasty. She ain't gonna dictate how I feel or what's going on between me and you.
Now,
that's true.
But at the same time,
That's
I'm
true.
never gonna put myself in any situation where I don't feel comfortable.
next, I think that you should only have an issue on how he handles the mom disrespecting you.
That part.
Now, if he says nothing and he allows that to happen, then you got a problem. You got a problem because there's no way that I'm gonna allow any parent, no matter what they may think, if I care about somebody and love somebody and that's who I'm in a relationship with, you're gonna be respectful. Because if I can't bring them around, I won't be coming around. I'm not coming over here. That's the least amount of time that you're gonna see me. Yeah. So I think that's the pinpoint on that situation. But when it's dealing with a child, you have some of these parents coaching the children. Oh, you don't gotta listen to her. Yeah. You don't got. You don't. That's it right there. That ain't your mama. That's it right there. You don't gotta listen to her. Yeah. You don't gotta listen to him. That ain't your daddy. Hey, and you let me know. You let me know if he say something to you out the way. Yeah,
that's the Erica and Strapping situation.
The moment I hear something, a woman tell that child, "Oh, you ain't gotta listen to him," you know what you right.
Yeah. I'm for the exit.
Listen to your dad. Don't for the police.
Yeah, this situation over.
But see,
that conversation should have been had prior to any of my homegirls and I take their kids. You know, if they act up, I'm at least pinch them.
Right.
Something. I ain't gonna get beat you.
Right.
Because they last event.
So, but and that is a conversation that you got to have from the get go. You got to have that conversation for the get go when you're dealing with it. But at the same time, you and Jay, I think you kind of misunderstood. Not your girl. We're talking about the dad. So in that case, in that situation that you were having, the dad telling that son when he comes over to your house with you and his mom, that dad telling him, you don't gotta listen to him. That ain't your old boy.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like for the woman or for the man.
Yeah.
If I hear that, and then that child come to me and say, "Oh, I ain't gotta listen to you," you're absolutely right.
Yeah. We gotta break.
Your mom, because I'm gonna walk out this door.
And that's one of the main things that I want to come out of this conversation is to change the dynamic in these households. Like, stop being so worried about what other people got. Like my children's mothers, I wish them the best. I hope they have happiness and solace in whatever relationship, whatever they have going on. I'm not focused on what's going on in their household. I'm focused on my child. So I'm focused on the safety of him. As long as he's in a safe environment, I'm cool. As long as she's in a safe environment, I'm cool. I'm concerned about them actually having a balanced life, not having this life that's just not it's not true. If you see that you have structure here and there's no structure there, that's a lie. You're lying to the child. You're lying to the child. You're making him believe that, or you're making her believe that they can live like this. That's the way life works. So you know what? I don't want to be here no more. Let me go back to my mama's house. You're starting that at a very early age if that's what you're doing. And that's on both ends. So even if the mom calls and say, hey, such and such did this, they are on punishment. We need to understand that. I don't care what we got going. Oh, but I had a party you're supposed to go to this weekend. No, they don't need to go to that party.
Nope. Yeah, it's done.
They don't need to go to that party. Because then that's what we're giving that false perception. Final thing. Finances. Just touch on it real quick. Do you shop for your kids according to the way the other parent shop? And for the those that's not parents yet, no. Do you So, but okay. So you guys all answer it from a step parent point of view.
Oh, I ain't trying to feel about this kid.
But okay, and I want to say this.
Christmas gift?
I want to say this because TK shout out to Keandre Mike. I seen he had TK on his show, the comedian, and TK Kirkland, and TK says any person willing to take care of somebody else's child, aka being a step parent, has a mental illness.
Damn.
Well, I didn't do the institution because he took care of two girls that were not his before I was born. So
This is what was said.
He a comedian though. It was a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. You got and I go and check out Mike's show. Go. He said
That's a joke. That had to be a joke.
He said any adult that chooses, it's on YouTube and it's on he's my friend on Facebook. It's Mike. Under Mike, and you should be able to go, if you go on his page, it's public, so you should be able to check out that interview with TK Kirkland, and yeah,
that makes sense because there's foster kids, there's kids in adopted.
Right, I want to know.
Somebody taking care of them and I ain't kids.
The last time I touched on this conversation, somebody said it was a weakness. This was the first time I heard someone say it's a mental illness to take care of somebody else's child.
I agree.
No, I think that had to be a joke. Honestly, not.
No, it wasn't a joke.
I
watched it and it wasn't a joke because I've heard him say it again.
You say you agree?
Said before.
You say you agree? Why do you agree that's a?
I'm not gonna call it a mental illness, but it is.
So at what point were you sick? Because you was with little man.
I ain't doing shit.
And you felt some type of way though.
Nah, I talked to them.
You didn't want nothing. I ain't never talked to nobody named mama.
The only reason I talk to the dad is because it's just a sense of courtesy. Like, bro, I'm about to fuck your shorty up.
Yeah, but that's because you was.
No, that's because she would bring that little nigga to my house.
Yeah, but you allowed it. You could have said no.
I think anybody who has passion.
Giving all the context clues to
I'm
why.
just saying you contradicting yourself because at some point you
just not saying
had
everything.
5 minutes with little man. You was around him.
Yeah.
You cared enough to even have a conversation with his dad. I would never talk to any of the baby.
He had that conversation because of GTD.
Listen, I think anybody who have passion for kids. I think anybody who have passion for kids won't feel like it.
I'm just not trying to expose
if you love kids and you got a big family, anybody who have passion for kids, just humans in general, you got a giving spirit. Saying there is just a disease probably because you ain't taking care of your kids, or you probably ain't got none.
Right.
If you all right, so
because ain't no way you can say
kids, right?
Yeah.
So y'all love y'all kids,
right?
Do you think the person that dates your ex is gonna love your kids the way that you do?
I touched on that earlier.
I touched on that earlier.
It ain't gonna be the same love.
You
say yeah? Oh, okay, thank you. So let's just keep this shit 100.
I ain't gonna say they're gonna love them to the extent you do.
Yes.
I'm talking to her. She said
I would never be able to love your kids like you. Never.
It ain't gonna be to the extent that you do, right? But there is a.
But you just said at the beginning of the conversation, you said you don't even believe in step. I did, and I know what that means.
That's what I said. That's why I said I feel like you contradicted.
Yeah, so, I know what that means.
So, what do you mean? You was in that role.
I never said I was in that role. What I said was I'm trying to show him something that his daddy couldn't.
Okay, but you can say that you're not in that role, but you was dating his mom, so therefore you was in that role. You can't say.
And you had to know she had a child first.
You can't say I go to work every day and I empty trash cans. I'm not a trash man.
So y'all want me to give y'all the full context too? I didn't do it.
However,
we was fucking. Right?
But that's
I didn't want to let go of that time.
That's what step parents do.
So the giant was good, okay?
No, listen. There's godparents who ain't fucking, and then there's step parents.
I wasn't no step parent.
Yeah, you was.
I never picked shorty up in my life.
But you was playing a valid role in his life.
See, I'm trying to give y'all the context. Y'all ain't listening.
So you can't.
So you was just in a sexual relationship with her.
Yeah, we started off as fuck friends.
a sexual relationship is coming in at night and not crossing paths with that kid.
We was on the same floor. We was just fucking. Every time he came home, he was just fucking up.
But again, that goes back to what I said: is a person that don't have kids,
what I'm trying to say.
and a person that really don't have a love for kids. That goes back to exactly what I just said. Because ain't no way you can say something like that.
Right.
It has to be just a fuck thing, knowing that she have a child and then coming in with that same mentality. Fuck that nigga. But at the same time, you still trying to show this kid something that the daddy ain't did.
Right.
Yeah, not to fuck up my shit.
So you contradict. But there is some type of something there to even try to pull that out of the
not
kid.
to embarrass when we're out in public.
Oh my God.
Because you're a part of it.
I'm glad you're out that situation.
You're a part of
I'm
it.
glad about that situation.
What you was going to say, Nick?
I was gonna say, so I saw a podcast. A lady called in, and her and her brother, this is like years later, they're adults now. Her and her brother ended up receiving money, I guess a policy, life insurance policy, from a lady that their dad used to date when they were younger. And pretty much, the lady left a note. Now, mind you, she hasn't seen them in years, whatever the case may be, but she left this note saying pretty much to the lady and her brother. Of course, they were kids at the time. Dad was no longer dating. This is years later. And it was pretty much to the fact that I never had any kids. I dated your dad when I was, when you guys were younger. I think they were like 6 or 7. And she was like, pretty much, you don't know what impact you had on my life. Y'all accepted me. Y'all never, looked at me any kind of way. Like, pretty much let her play mom or whatever for whatever time they was dating. And that impacted that lady's life to the point where she left everything to them.
Yeah.
And this is years later. They've grown. They're in their 30s and 40s now. And this lady passed away. And they're like, well, we remember her.
Yeah.
To say you don't know the impact being a stepmom or stepdad is putting on people who don't have kids.
Yeah. No,
and I don't know if she couldn't have kids or she, just didn't, whatever.
Or probably time passed where she couldn't or whatever. But it's a certain love that you have inside of you as a parent. And this is coming from a person, like I say it often, I have more God kids than I actually have biological kids. And I take care of all of my children and godchildren equally. And so and this is just when me and Janae did insurance policy on ourselves. One of my best friends passed away. I had custody of his son for about 2 years or so. And I also, our youngest is not biologically my son. But when we did the policy, that policy is divided equally to all of them. When you love, and it doesn't have to be biological to be a parent. Parent starts here and here. It's up to you to be willing to apply that. I remember as a kid, sometimes me and my brother have different dads. And a lot of times my brother's dad was active in his life. My dad wasn't. So my brother's dad would come and pick him up. And when he would pick him up, I'll just be sitting in the window looking at my brother drive off with his dad. And I'm sitting there lonely, no dad in sight. I made a promise to myself that I would never be that type of father. I will be a father to anybody who needs one. So in my mind, it's not hard for me to take on that responsibility. For some people, it is difficult because they don't want to take on that responsibility. They're more focused on themselves, and that's okay to admit. But that's not a mental illness because you have a unwavering love, or you have a selfless love. So it's not a mental illness. And whenever you're in a position to help and you can help, especially when it comes to parenting, because and not to get biblical, but the Bible tells you God only really forgives babies and fools. So you have to understand that. And when it comes to these babies, we all need to be put in a position that we can raise them correctly. And it's not just about giving them stuff. Nix, you said this earlier. No, everybody, we feel like, oh, because we got it. And I know a lot of my friends on here right now, like, I see some of y'all commenting on, thank y'all for joining. A lot of we feel like, oh, we got to give our kids this or that. or this or that. But no, you don't have to. You don't have to. These kids need to earn stuff. They need to earn things. It's not just, oh, give them because you got it. So what? I got it. Yeah, I got it, but that don't mean you got it. You need to earn it. You need to develop skills to get where you need to get and how you need to get. My yeah, and a lot of times, even where I made errors at, I make sure my kids don't make those errors. Does that make me a little bit harder on them? Yeah, yeah. And I can say this. I'm I'm a little upset at my mom right now because in the process of disciplining my son, grandparents need to be aware. Just because you reach this level of your life where you feel like you're grandma or you granddad now, and you just want to, oh no, don't do nothing to my baby. Oh, bring my baby over here. You need to understand, I am the parent. I'm now, this is my rodeo that I'm conducting. Right. So you have to understand that I'm going to parent the way that I see fit, the same way you parented me, the way you saw fit. And the grandparents need to support their children in parenting. Don't go against them. Don't go against them. Even if you want to give them some advice, you give them some advice on the back end, and you let them, hey, this, I made some errands here with you, and da 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 da. But you don't go against your children in their parenting unless they're just doing something unorthodox and they out of control. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Especially some stuff that they didn't teach you.
Exactly. And there's so many things that where our parents, anybody, because parents swear they do everything right. And I'll be the first. You'll see here. I'll be like, man, if anybody asks me, I'm an amazing dad. Am I an amazing dad? Yes, I do think so. Am I a perfect dad? No, no. And my kids would probably tell me, you hang out too much. You, you always doing this for that person, that person. You should be doing more with us. Or, they always going to see things through a different, because that's their point of view. And that's the same way you would look at your parents, and as good and as much as you love them, you will say, there's a lot of stuff that your dad probably didn't do, that your mom probably didn't do, that grandma probably didn't do. And you will look at them, and if you tell them that, they feel like you're making their world crumble. But it's not. It's just you're telling your story of where you came from. And I like the way you put it earlier, Dave. I like the way you said, my mom was growing up with me. Right. I understood she missed a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
There was some things she had to iron out a little bit later when she got older to understand what it is that she needed to implement. But at the time she couldn't do it because she was moving around, making her moves.
Yeah, right, Skylar. I agree with you.
I'm just making her moves. She was doing her thing, trying to get herself together. And I know at my younger ages, I ain't old, but I know at my younger ages when I was trying to find that little area where I wanted to work at, find the amount of money that I wanted to save to take it to the next level. I know at that time when I had kids, they were wanting certain things and I wasn't there. I was missing that moment where they needed it or they wanted it at the time. So I know it was kind of difficult for my old girl. Yeah. Especially being that my old boy wasn't there. It was all trying to kind of like being pushed on her. But at the same token, she had my grandma to kind of help her navigate that little area. And as she got a little bit older, she did better.
Yeah, and
I understood that when I got older.
Right. It grows you up as a parent. I mean, my early 20s, I became a parent first at 14. I'm sorry, at 24. Right. Woo! No, not at 14. No, I wasn't that fast. Yeah, 10 years, 10 years later. I was outside, but I wasn't doing none of that. I was not, yeah. But when I first became a dad at 24, I was in party mode, man.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, though.
And I'm just being real.
Tender age. 20 years old, tender ages, man.
Like you when no one hit 21, you want to go outside, you better tell them. You get outside too much.
Yeah. and I think that's the point of it too. Like, it kind of made me realize, I'm like, okay, well, dang, my mama did have my kids like the first 5 years of their life. She was kind of, the main role, even though I was there hands on as a father, but I wasn't with either of the mothers during that time process. So, when I was out working, you know how corrections is. I was working, I was getting money.
Money.
So and when I wasn't doing that, I was trying to get out, hang out as a young man. So my mom would pick up the slack for me. And I think coming to the end of my 20s, I started to realize it, and I'm like, okay, I need to be more hands on. I need to be more hands on. I need to start implementing my time with them, and showing them things and teaching them things and how it's supposed to go.
While living your life.
Right. Wow. You need to find a balance of it. You know, everything that I do, all the parts of it is just showing them how to deal with it. You know, how to make up. J Twan showed Noah how to set up this whole system, and Noah still remembers. Still remembers. He does it. He would have done it tonight, but you know, he's at his mom's this weekend. So but it's important to have that time and those qualities. Mm-hmm. It's important. And it may be it'll look different, Skylar, to grandparents, because they're not understanding it, because they didn't, like, my mom was not a personable person. She wasn't like out and about. She didn't hang out like that. So that wasn't something, you know, when she see I do, it looks foreign to her. You know what I'm saying? It's different. But my way of parenting is my way of parenting. As long as you're not doing anything out of the way, you should be qualified to parent your children the way that you want to parent them. And that's within keeping finances from them. I don't care how much money I make. I will not shower my kids with all these gold chains and unlimited pairs of shoes and all of these different clothes, because that's is no. Unless you're bringing me in A1 status grades, unless you're bringing me in the things that I require for you to bring in, then you could come to me and say, hey, oh, Dad, I want this, or I'm trying to do this. And I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. But you should not just be showering these kids, because guess what? When they get grown and you're not able to do that anymore, where do you think they're going to get it from? Yeah. How you think they're going to obtain it?
The hard way, the rough way is outside.
Off the muscle.
Right.
Off the muscle.
Off the muscle. And that puts them in a peculiar situation, because 9 times out of 10, they not even cut that way.
Nope.
They not even cut that way. They just don't know how to hear no.
Yeah. They're fighting the no word. It's going against the grain.
They just don't know how to hear no. So then they go out there and they think that they can take it, or they think they can get it the fast way. You've seen it. I've seen it. They have a whole facility in the adult prison called youth defenders.
For real. Until they turn 18. And then when
they switch them to the other side.
For real.
Listen. And it ain't no joke. It ain't no game. It ain't no game.
So how do we land this plane? We're going to go down the list. Nick go first. She goes second. You go third. Chop go.
Yeah.
And then I crash you.
So how do you think that we could be better parents, Nikita?
Communication and just being responsible and accountable. But some people got kids and they don't want to be parents.
True.
Next.
Janessa?
Janessa,
how do you think we can be better parents?
I think personally, before the age of 25, you should not be thinking about kids.
I agree.
You need to find yourself, have some dates, don't take anything entirely too serious, and I don't know. I feel like more and more I find reasons to continue not having children, but I do just not settle, but to be in partnership with someone to have a child.
I'm sorry
and I
for that.
think the older you become, especially if you have more credentials, your selection pool becomes a lot smaller. And once you hit over the age of 25, and definitely 30 plus as a woman, nobody's feeling sorry for you for choosing one baby daddy.
Right.
And at 30 plus, you shouldn't be thinking about a baby daddy. You should be looking at a husband.
True.
So,
very valid. I mean, you saying stop it from the get-go. Stop it at the gate.
Pretty much.
Stop it at the gate. Okay, D. Jay, you got any clothes? You got something?
Oh, yeah, you want me to close?
Yeah, I mean, no. How do you feel we can be better
Chop
parents?
gonna close it.
Be better parents by beating your kids. Yeah.
So we got beaten. We turned out fine.
You got to beat your kids. Beat your kids. They'll be all right.
Well, in my closing, I want to say this: discipline to me is the key.
Yeah.
Try to be consistent and on the same page, no matter the parent in the household with you or not, and make sure you communicate throughout your errors because you're not going to be perfect.
Okay. That's definitely dope. I take a lot of those sentiments. Before I get into mine, Scholar, I appreciate you chiming in, tapping into this conversation. And a couple of your statements you put we have to get more involved, communicate, and show it by reaching out to their teachers and building that connection. Also, hear them out on the things they will like to do and support them. Check their behaviors right away. Don't wait until the next day. I definitely agree with all of that. You know, I agree with that. For me, I feel like you have to have a relationship with your children. And I'm not saying that you have to be their friend, but you have to have a relationship. And relationship is not just always discipline or putting down or correction. Relationship also has celebration, uplifting, and you guys can actually have some things in common. My youngest likes to fish. I love to fish. He actually want to go to fishing for his birthday. So we're putting together a fishing thing. I wouldn't know that if I didn't have a relationship with him to know that. The same, as in the same, with my son, he loves technology, and he loves all of this stuff, engineering and music and all of those different things. And so we get to have real conversations about music because that was my love, my first love. So developing that relationship with them is very, very important, and keeping that line of even communicate with them about discipline. We wait until they do something that's really, really bad and they piss us off, and then we lash out. It always should be a development. When this, do you understand why this is happening? Do you understand why you're on punishment? Do you understand why you're getting chastised right now? I think those are all, and you mentioned communication. Those are all key components. And I also agree with Janessa. Um, it's some people out here that are becoming parents that don't need to be parents. I don't care how cute you think a baby is. I don't care much you like being pregnant, how much you like taking the photos and all of that stuff. It is some people that do not need to be parents. And you're doing not only yourself and the child a disservice, but you're doing the world a disservice because you're putting them out there on us. You
go close with that?
That's what I'm closing with. Listen, please, if you're ready to be a parent, be a parent. Do not do it because it's a fad. Do not do it because it looks good. Do not do it for financial assistance from the government. Do it because it's in your heart, it's in your mind, and that's what you feel like you're doing, and you feel like you can add another great human being to this world. That's what I want to close on. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we will be back. I won't say next week. I'll say the week after next. But we will be back with another show. Appreciate y'all. All right. Well, you better be here next week. Hey, deuces. Thank y'all for chopping it up with y'all.
Yo, let's go. It's time to chop it up with Chop, baby. Shout out to